Good evening, everybody. Drum roll, please. Fan Experience TV is right back at you. Episode 91 is upon us. It's been a great ride. Happy summer, everybody. For those of you turning in for the first time, my name is Mike Hiatus. I'm your host. Alongside me is my co-host, Rick Molina. Rick, how was your weekend?
It was pretty good. It was right in front of my laptop, just answering a bunch of questions. And by the way, happy Father's Day to you, Mike, and to all the dads out there. I spent my Father's Day with my dad. We had some nice steak. We had a couple steaks and some rice, and we had a good time. So the weekend was good. It was hot, and I watched Kevin Durant try to carry the Brooklyn Nets. I watched the Philadelphia 76ers implode. I watched the Yankees pull off a triple play. And, listen, now that we're getting close to the NBA, baseball's in full bloom, so a lot going on. And I think we got to start with your boy, once again, the one and only Mr. Not Human, Jacob DeGrom.
Yes, he's DeGrominating again and again out there. But, thank you very much for the Father's Day wishes. And I want to say, yesterday, I went to my first live sporting event since 2019.
All right,
and
there you go.
Boy, oh boy, did it feel amazing. I brought my little one over to see the Long Island Ducks. I mean, it's not the Mets, it's not the Yankees, but, it's a baseball game nonetheless. It was a beautiful day. And, she got her first real fan experience. We went up on the field. She ran the bases. So she got everything. She got a little spoiled for that, that first real, moment at the ballpark. So it was great to see that, and great to see people out there and enjoying a game of baseball on a beautiful, summer day. Cause that was first day of summer was yesterday. So,
and what was it like? What was the experience like compared to going to a major league game? What was the difference?
Well, I've been to a Ducks game before. Obviously, it's
more affordable.
It's more affordable. Obviously, you're not as invested in the team, but you're still watching, a fun game. It was a little sloppy at the end. It was like 14-6 going into the bottom of the eighth. Lee Mazzilli's son hit a grand slam to make it 18-6, and then the Ducks gave up 7 in the top of the ninth. So it was very sloppy, and goes to show you why they play for a different league. Let's just say that. But let's talk about the professionals and the true professional in Jacob DeGrom. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, the guy cannot go far into these games because they are watching out. They don't want to get him injured, and by all means, we nobody wants to see that. Fans of any team don't want to see that because the guy is on a historic run right now. And he went another 5, 1 hit ball today, 7 punch outs, and gave up a couple of walks, but no runs in the last 27 innings pitched. And I think 43 strikeouts in those 27 innings for his last 5 starts. I mean, it's just incredible to see what he is accomplishing out there. And he lowered his ERA to .50, which is just incredible. It's absolutely incredible to see. But yeah, you mentioned your Yankees, and I will say June 21st and the Mets are in first place. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. Let's keep it going because it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
But yeah, your Yankees 3 triple plays in one season. What's up with that?
I don't know. I mean, they can't get out of their own way, but they can get triple plays done, which is
and in remarkable fashion as well.
Yeah,
1, 2, 6, 3, 7, 8.
Yeah.
3 double plays.
Chapman runs on first and second and just throwing a. But look, the Yankees seem to have stabilized the ship. As we said last week, the van is on the side of the ditch with no tires. I think they put some tires on. I think they finally got the steering wheel a little bit corrected. They're starting to rev up the engine and see how things are rolling. So we'll see how we move along. But you're right, man. The Yankees have won 3 or 4 in a row now. Starting to hit a little bit. Starting to get back. They're only 4.5 back out of behind the Red Sox. And so they're in a good spot. I also wanted to touch on a little NBA. and quickly on the Brooklyn Nets because I watched that game the other night. I mean, just absolutely incredible performance by Kevin Durant. It was Kevin Durant and James Harden on one leg against Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks. That's really what it was. And Kevin Durant literally tried. And if it wasn't for the fact that he has a size 16 shoe, they'd have got to the conference finals. I mean, that shot that he hit was just unhuman, man. I mean, it's just incredible the way he hit that shot. But the guy was just – but you could tell towards at the end of it, I think he was just out of gas. I think it was just done. And the Milwaukee Bucks go on the road in the Game 7 and win. And then on the other hand, you had the Philadelphia 76ers last night and completely implode. Ben Simmons has his head. The game has gotten into his head. He can't score. He's afraid of the rim, afraid of shooting free throws.
Yep.
And B tries to carry the team, but at the end of the day, Doc Rivers again losing in the second round. And the question in Philadelphia today is whether they're going to trade Ben Simmons. I think he's a goner. He needs a change, obviously, but some great games. And obviously, Devin Booker, we talked about, who's just that guy, man. It's 40 points a game, dude. It's crazy.
Scorching. I mean, they're on fire. I mean, it's very appropriate that they're named the Sun because they are red hot right now, and it's 8 in a row. Taking down the Lakers. Just demolishing. Who was it? The Mavs, right?
Nuggets.
The
Nuggets.
Yeah. And they're already up 1-0 on the Clippers right now. So and then that's
without Chris Paul. So when Chris Paul comes back, I mean, man.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing. Obviously, they're well poised to make it to the NBA Finals if they're keeping up their current trajectory there. And then the Hawks, man. I mean, when we signed off Wednesday, they were down 26 points in the fourth quarter.
Yes. I said it was over.
They put a fork in them. They're done.
Yep.
Good night, Atlanta. And then they came back. They won that game. They won the next game, and then another game after that, right? It was 2 games since.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, no, they won.
Or was it just
one game?
Was that game 6?
No, that was game 5. They came down 26. Then they lost game 6.
Okay.
And then they go on the road and win a game 7. And if you're the Sixers, man, I mean, you had home court and you lost games 1, 5, and 7, man. That cannot happen. I'm sorry. You got a team like that.
Let's be real. You can't give up a 26-point lead in the fourth quarter. That can't happen. Forget about
that. Can't happen.
Forget about everything else. Like, you had it in the bag.
Yeah.
For as much as you could have, and it's ironic that the Atlanta Falcons give up a 28-3 lead,
but the
Hawks are obviously a lot stronger than the Falcons. I'll tell you that much.
And right now,
unbelievable.
And the Islanders right now down 3-0. Going into the second period. Brutal.
Yeah.
They look flat tonight, man. They look real flat. They just don't look ready to play.
Yeah, no, I mean, but they are still the lone New York team in a playoff, playoff picture. Those Knicks got knocked out by those surging Hawks, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I don't feel kind of bad now, that they got, but, could imagine the Knicks actually showed up. If they actually showed up and played well.
Yeah.
The Knicks might be in the conference finals. You never know.
But hey, we were predicting Nets, Lakers in the finals at the beginning of this season, and that's gone.
But it goes to show, man, it's about it's about these teams sort of gelling at the right time. I mean, Atlanta was dead in the water in February. Nate McMillan gets hired as the coach, and they take off. I mean, it's just incredible. And what he's done as a coach is just incredible. I mean, he's taught them to play defense. He's had them believe in themselves. And they're now onto the conference finals of playing Milwaukee. And Milwaukee better be careful because Atlanta can shoot the ball. They can shoot the ball. They're playing defense. I mean, I don't know if Capella can stop Giannis. But if they're not careful, man, they could be.
I'd like to see the Bucks advance, though, because I don't want to see Trae Young represent.
I don't either
in the NBA Finals. I want the Greek Freak to make it out there. But we'll touch on a little bit more after our next guest. Right now, joining us, he is the founder and CEO of Lark Media and the host of the Daily Dingers podcast. Please help us welcome Steve Armato to the show. Steve.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you for having me. I'm great. Happy belated Father's Day.
Thank you very much. You a father as well or no?
No, dog dad. So that doesn't really.
There you
count.
go.
There you go. Well, happy
Yeah.
Father's
Happy
Day on
Dog
that.
Day, yeah.
So yeah, no, it's a pleasure to have you on. I know we connected a few weeks ago, and it's it was great to get introduced. So we chatted, and obviously you're a Mets fan. Last week, Rick had his comrade on, and they were talking Yankees, and now we could team up on Rick a little bit.
Now it's our turn.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess, where did it all start for you? I know you were born in Brooklyn, raised in Staten Island, correct? And, where did it all start, becoming a Mets fan and just, because sometimes, Brooklyn is more on the Yankee allegiance. I was in Queens, so that's why I fled towards the Mets side. But talk to us about that.
Yeah, so really it's all because of my father. So he's a huge Mets fan. He actually he got me into baseball at a young age, and the Mets when I was really young, they stunk. Okay. So I was really young. When I first was going to games, it was like they were getting blown out. They're getting the doors blown off. It was bad. I remember the year the Cubs started the season 0-16, they got their first win at Shea against the Mets. So when I was young, I just remember them being bad. And then it all turned around when I was about 10, 11 years old when they got Mike Piazza in that trade. He got traded to the Marlins, and then they got him from the Marlins. He was on the Marlins for 50 seconds, and then he got traded to the Mets. And then I was hooked. Piazza became my favorite player because I played baseball growing up. I was a catcher, and he came to the Mets, and I was like, wow, it was like they have talent. This is amazing. This guy is insane. He just put the team on his back, and they went to the World Series. Actually, they had the playoff run where they fell short. Then the next year, they got the wild card, that final day of the season. I remember the wild pitch, and they went to the playoff against Cincinnati, the one game. And then, from there, it just took off for me. That's when it really took off as a Mets fan. Because when I was a kid, I mean, they stunk, but Piazza turned that franchise around. So
that could probably be said for any generation.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, they stunk.
Yeah, absolutely.
But right now, the kids in this generation, they are watching just, masterful pitching by Jacob deGrom, and he's just getting stronger with the exception of the little injuries he's got, plaguing him right now, and he's not going deep into games, but at least they're managing him well. And me and Rick talk about this all the time, the DH and how it's coming to the NL, and I've been a big opponent of that. I like the strategy that that the pitchers coming into hit and the hit and runs and all the strategy that it brings. It's just that old fashioned baseball feel and just traditional. I guess I'm more of a traditionalist, but I'm all for bat flips and all that showboaty stuff as well. But I'm turning a corner. I am turning a corner after Jacob deGrom. He's getting injured a little bit because of some of his swings that, he's masterful at the plate, mind you. The guy's got 6 RBIs and four earned runs allowed this year, but I'm turning the corner on that. What's your feeling on the DH coming to the NL?
Give me the DH. Just bring it to the NL. Here's my thing. At the beginning, I wasn't for it, and then I watched. It was a 60-game season last year, and I was like, oh, my God, I don't need to watch Dom Smith play left field, and I don't have to watch the pitcher hit. This is unbelievable. This is so much better. Because now I got to watch Dom Smith play the outfield, and he's brutal out there. I'm sorry. I love the guy.
Getting better. He's getting better.
Yeah, but he can't throw out a herd of elephants from the outfield. He's just and his range is iffy. I just want the DH. Listen, you got to think about it this way. You come to the park to watch Jacob deGrom pitch. I know it's great to watch him hit because he probably should bat should be batting third when he pitches also, but I need him. I need him pitching. I need him only worrying about pitching. Just give me the DH, please. And you know what? The Mets are built for the DH. Just the defense gets better when they have a DH. So I'm all for it. Just bring it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, Steve,
I'm I'm gonna have to agree with you. That's it. Case is closed. Bring the DH.
Done.
We're done.
I'm done.
But Steve, thanks for coming on. I want to touch base on you. So you played Division I baseball from 07 to 11. Tell us how did you get recruited? I mean, tell us how that's all.
So I didn't get recruited. Here's what happened. So I just told myself when I was a freshman in high school that I wanted to play Division I baseball. I had no offers. I was just reaching out to coaches. I was on a travel team. Our team was really good. I just wasn't getting any offers anywhere. And so I got in touch with the coach at Sacred Heart University, and he goes, "We have tryouts. Like if you have to clear NCAA clearinghouse. If you clear everything, you come to tryouts, and we'll see what happens." I was like, all right, cool. So I go. I hated it. First 2 weeks, I hated it. They were running us into the ground, and all of a sudden, I just something snapped, and the one thing I could really do was hit. I was a catcher, but I actually could hit, and I was holding my own. And after I was like, I could play with these guys. So fall ball ends, and the coach comes over to me. He's like, "Listen," he's like, "we're gonna redshirt you." He's like, "I'm not gonna cut you. I'm gonna redshirt you." So I was like, "All right, that's cool. That works." 12 games into the season, I'm supposed to redshirt. The catcher, who's a senior, gets hurt. He's out for the year. He needs Tommy John. Now I'm moving up on the depth chart a little bit, and by game number 27, I started, and I played the rest of my freshman year as the catcher. So I ended up walking on, and I ended up being on the team for the next 4 years. I didn't start all 4 years. I became more of a bat off the bench or whatever you want to call it towards the end, because I'll be honest, my defense as a catcher was not very good. I was really there to hit. But I made the team, played all 4 years. We won the Northeast Conference Championship when I was a senior. Ended up going to play Clemson in the NCAA tournament. Got smoked. But it was a great experience. We played against George Springer. He was at UConn at the time. Played against Matt Barnes, who's in the bullpen for the Red Sox. Played against, actually, my junior year, we went to Florida. We played against Chris Sale. So got to really experience what actual really good guys look like. When you watch George Springer play baseball, it's a totally different level of baseball. It's not what you're playing against in the Northeast Conference. This dude hit a 3-hopper to third base, and he beat it out with flying. Wow. It was the most ridiculous. He hit a line drive. So that happened, and then his next at bat, he hit a line drive that was about 10 feet off the ground. I thought it was going to go through the left field fence. That's how hard he hit it. It was insane, but it was a great experience. And I busted my tail. Really, I don't know what the language barriers with the language.
Oh yeah,
whatever you want.
Yeah. So I broke my ass on to make that team, and I was on the team for 4 years, and I ended up getting a ring out of it at the end. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds like a play. And you played catcher, and when you were playing against guys like Springer and Chris Sale, could you tell the difference right away? These guys are on a different level than what most of the guys in college are.
Yeah, Springer 100%. When that guy, he's not even that tall. Okay, so you're looking at him, you're like, all right, he's not that tall, and then he takes a swing, and you're like, oh my god, this kid is ridiculous. He has people don't realize these guys get drafted on tools. So he's throwing 92 from center field to home plate. So when you're watching him warm up, he's just throwing gas around the field. Then he gets he's taking batting practice. It's insane. And the ball doesn't leave other people's bat the way it leaves his bat when you're playing these guys. Actually, I have a funny story about Chris Sale though. When we played them, we went. So the college baseball season starts last 2 weeks in February, and we go to Florida Gulf Coast. It's 55 degrees down there last week in February. So for them, it's really cold. For us, we're this is amazing because our school's in Connecticut. It's minus up there. So playing Chris Sale, and the first inning, we're all right, he's throwing hard, but he's all over the place. Our leadoff guy gets on. Our leadoff hitter, my junior year, he was actually the fastest kid I've ever seen. He got drafted because he just was a deer, like running. So he gets on first. Sale tries to pick him off, throws it over the first baseman's head. Now he's on third. We end up scoring like 2 runs in the first inning. Guys are coming back from the dugout. They're like, his slider's flat. His slider's flat. I'm like, what's going on? What do you mean his slider's flat? Now, second inning comes around, and all of a sudden he's like a different pitcher. So he's throwing cheese whiz. His slider's not flat anymore.
Yeah.
You see him taking batting practice later. We actually won that game. So we end up winning the game 5-3. We're batting practice on Sunday. We're talking to him in the outfield, and we're like, yeah, like what was going on early in the game? He goes, that's the coldest game I've ever pitched in. We go, what do you mean? It was 55 degrees. He goes, yeah, it's never 55 degrees in Florida. He goes, I couldn't feel my fingers in the first inning. I'm like, oh yeah, that's why we scored runs off you. Now it makes sense. Got it.
Yeah. Don't make excuses. Come on.
Yeah,
you just went up against a better team, guy. All right. No.
That's right. That's it. I mean, we won that game though, so I'm gonna hang that. We hang that over. Well, if we catch up, we talk about that. Like, remember the time we beat Chris Sale? Like we'll talk about that forever. So I could hang.
Yeah, I mean, that, Hey, Jacob deGrom played in Florida. It looked like he did perfectly fine when he came up to New York.
Yeah, he did. He did more than okay. I love that.
Yeah,
you can't talk.
And
what
was he? What was he? Our like third? What was he? Our number 3 when he first came up? Actually, he was just like a replacement guy at first.
DeGrom?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he wasn't even.
He was just like the old guy that's just gonna get a shot to
right.
replace.
He wasn't Harvey. He wasn't Wheeler. Like, although Wheeler kind of makes me sick now because we didn't even offer him a contract. I don't want to talk about that. But I mean, he wasn't these big name guys. Like and now he ends up. Actually, I had a terrible take. I thought he was the guy to trade at the time because I was like, oh, he'll break down at some point. He's like thin. He's not like he doesn't have the bulk of these other guys. Like he doesn't have the and it ends up being Harvey and Syndergaard, the guys that like have like the bulk and the muscle, the guys that end up breaking down now, right?
Yeah.
So that was a terrible take about 5 years ago. But I mean, I'm glad that they didn't trade him, and I'm glad that. Remember the rumors? I mean, Rick, you know this because like through the Yankee fan vine, like over the last like 2 years, like, oh, the Yankees should trade Frazier for DeGrom, and it's like,
so it's funny you mentioned that because about a couple of years ago, like literally, like me and my friends were like, this thing might happen because the Yankees at the time were in dire need of a starting pitcher. DeGrom, the word was he wanted it out of New York because the Mets weren't giving him any run support and everything. And they were like, what would be the best fit? I think it was like Andujar and Frazier or somebody like that as well for DeGrom. I mean, my God, if the Mets would have pulled off that trade and what he's turned into now, could you imagine him and Garrett Cole? That'd be insane.
Be nuts. I mean, they would never. I'm glad they sold the team because I feel like a weight was lifted off of the franchise now. Yeah. But like if they made that deal, that would have went down as Babe
Ruth. That would have been Babe Ruth.
That would have been, yeah, exactly. And what is he? What's Frazier?
I don't know if we can go there. No, I don't know if we can go Babe Ruth.
He's not. I think he's like maybe 240, 250. He's not lighting it up.
No, he's not. Well, and Duhar is hit or miss. I don't know what happened to him. He
hurt his wrist.
So wrist injuries in baseball, man.
It's crazy.
Not good.
But I could only imagine the Yankees would have found a way to pull that one off. I mean, the Wolfhounds would have gone down in infamy. I mean, those guys would never be able to show their faces again. Incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh,
but yeah,
let's be real. They couldn't show their faces for a very long time anyway.
No, they were at the ballpark last. They were at the ballpark last week. I don't want to talk about that. Let's get rid of the Wolfhounds. We're done.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's
Will Ponzi's get out of here.
That's it.
No, I mean obviously we can talk about the Mets for a while. So you played catcher. So Mike Piazza's pretty much what got you into learning how to play catcher and Little League and stuff.
So I it's funny. I thought the glove was cool when I was a kid.
Okay.
And then
it is pretty cool.
I just thought the glove was cool. And then as I started watching Mike Piazza, that's when I really got into it. Because I wasn't really I was like playing catcher, but I was also playing third base at the time. And then I started really getting into catcher like as I got like around that age, like 11, 12. And that's when Piazza was on the Mets. And that's when I really, that's when I was like, oh, like, catcher is like an awesome position, and Mike Piazza is the man. And he's like he was dating like a Playboy playmate at the time. I was like, this guy's the man. So like, let's go. So he really got me into it. And then, also I had an older cousin. He was a year older than me. he was always on my team. He was a catcher. He was like always better than me. He was a stud catcher growing up. It just turned out that he was a better football player. So like in high school, he veered towards football. We went to the same high school. I wasn't even like really supposed to play as like a junior, and then he went to football, and then I just became the starting catcher. So that's how that worked. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, so obviously you were very, very big in baseball. You're very big in, in sports in general. You're also a Rangers and a Giants fan. And, so you went to Sacred Heart and you majored in communication, right? So you were trying to get into, was that, to try and get into more on the sports side of communication, thinking that, you're going to try to maybe play baseball in hopes that, you can get there, or were you pretty much you just wanted to play baseball as long as you possibly could?
No. So I was always hoping I could work in like baseball or in sports. So my dream of playing baseball past college ended day one of my freshman year. There was a guy who was a senior when I was a freshman on my team. This dude was like, so I'm short. I'm like 5'9", and I'm like 190 pounds. This dude was like 6'5". He was like 230, and he leads off batting practice first day. And his first 3 swings, 420, 420, 420. And I'm like, this kid's got to be. And this is before they changed the bats. So this was the old metal bats that the balls were just flying out.
Oh, yeah.
And this got to be drafted. No, they go, maybe. I go, what do you mean maybe? They're like, he might, but we don't know. Like, he'd be like a late round pick. I was like, did you just see what I saw? They're like, yeah, but he's a first baseman. There's like 500 guys that could do that play first base. And I was just like, yeah, you better figure out what you want to do after this, because you're not I can't do that. Then I'm not playing after this level. So that was it. But I knew I could work in sports just because I always wanted to work in sports. So like I wanted to make like these documentaries and stuff, which I've done. Like I used to do like a series for Sports Illustrated called Rising Stars, where we'd go around the country and we'd interview guys in all different leagues or in high level college. So I ended up doing what I wanted to do. I knew I wasn't going pro in baseball. I was like, I need to be around sports though. If I don't know how I need to figure out how I could do this. So that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, and I'm always interested in knowing the transition. So you finished college. What was your first role in sports? Was it at Sports Illustrated? I mean, was that your first entry level?
No. So my first role in sports was actually I became a video editor at Bleacher Report.
Okay.
When they were young. They had just expanded a little bit. They just got bought by Turner when Turner bought them.
Okay.
And I started as a video editor. I was bartending, and I met a guy when I was bartending, and I was like, yeah, I try to do video stuff. Is that the other thing? I ended up doing some work for him for like 3 months. He got a job at Bleacher Report and brought me with him. And then
that's great.
Yeah. And then it was really from there, that's when then Sports Illustrated happened. Then I actually went back to Bleacher Report, and then I opened up my own company and kind of took all my contacts with me and ended up staying in sports with those contacts. So. And
when did you know that you wanted to do it by yourself? Was it, after a couple of years, you're like, you know what, I can do this on my own. I can sort of spread my wings. I can do this. Solo.
It was after I had left Bleacher Report to work for a smaller company and then went back. They went back. So what happens in these companies in corporate, a lot of the times, I always wanted to move up and be a producer, like from editor to producer within Bleacher Report, but they weren't giving me the opportunity. So what happens in these companies, a lot of times you have to leave. And if you want that opportunity, you have to leave and do it somewhere else. And then all of a sudden, like 2 years later, I get a phone call that's like, we opened up this new department. We're looking to produce. Do you want it? I'm like, I could have just been whatever. It's fine. But so I had to go back. And when I went back and it became like super corporate, I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I could do it on my own. And I was like, this super corporate, because the first time I was there, it was not, it wasn't like a bit, it was still a relatively small company, but it wasn't like super corporate yet. When I went back the second time, the one thing I can't do is I can't be like, I create stuff. I can't be in meetings all day long. If I have to be in a meeting all day. I'm like, I can't do this. And I saw what they were doing. I saw what all these companies were doing. They were making what I was doing was I was making ended content. Like, these companies are paying Bleacher Report to make this content, right? They're paying them so much money, whatever it is. I could do it for like a third of the price on my own, cut out the middleman, and you guys could all run your social campaigns. We're going to just make the content for you, and you already have the audience. You don't really need their audience. Right. So I was like, I could do this. And I ended up, what happened was I made friends with a lot of agents. So what happened was I made friends with them, and I was like, listen, have you guys thought about doing this for your agency? Because you need to market your guys to companies. You need to market your guys to brands. Have you thought about doing video within your agency for your player specifically? Yeah. And a lot of them were like, you know what? We just haven't been able to find somebody to pull the trigger. And at first, my first person, he's actually Glaber Torres' marketing agent. He does Wilson Contreras. He does Ender and Ciarte. My first gig ever. I did it for free. He goes, and I want to do something with Ender. He goes, the best I could do is pay for your flight. I go, I will do it. I'll do it for free. I don't care. Like, let's get the ball rolling. And I did that, and that snowballed into other things. And just from that one free shoot I did with them, it's turned into so many more things. It's unbelievable. Like what happens.
That's incredible. Man.
Yeah. So it just kind of all snowballed, really. Like, you do one thing, you do another. I mean, I just feel like you got to be relentless with stuff like this. If you want it, you could do it. A lot of people just want it handed to them. Like, you got to go get it. So,
well said.
That's amazing. I mean, sometimes you just gotta go out there, get that free gig that just turns into something a lot bigger.
Exactly. And when you have the thing is, if you believe in your skill set, like you'll take the free job because it'll turn into other things. Yeah. You just gotta go do it. That's what I tell everyone all the time. They're like, what's your advice? I'm like, my advice is just go make stuff. Go do stuff and make it and put it out there, and you will see, and then you will see it will always come back. So that's your probably your keystone advice, tip to everyone out there. Yeah, like if you're thinking,
make it for themselves.
Right. Like if you're thinking about making something, stop thinking. Everybody thinks about this is my thing. Everybody thinks about making something. Everybody thinks about doing something. What separates the thing? There's two people. You're a thinker or you're a doer. What separates them is actually doing it. Like everybody, like how many people in my, like just growing up are like, oh, I had that idea like 5 years ago. I'm like, but you didn't do it. So you got to go do it. So that's my like keystone thing is just do stuff. And you know what? It's even better when it's stuff you want to do and it's fun and you don't like, you make the rules.
Yes.
You know what? I'm guilty. I thought about starting a podcast and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I could do it. I think it's going to be a good idea, but I can't do it. I don't know if I have the, the public speaking skills and whatever. Just, keep talking myself out of it. I'm like, fuck it. Let's just do it. Obviously, Rick agreeing to come on as co-host definitely eased the burden off of me. So, I appreciate that, Rick.
Yep.
And it's just, the only regret I have is not starting it sooner. Like you just do it. And then, honestly, watching episode 1 still makes me nauseous to this day. We had an amazing guest, I'm not discounting the guest. We had a undrafted rookie that was signed to the Giants last year, Chris Angulo. You probably know the name because you're a Giants fan, but it was cringeworthy. Other than the guest.
You look back now, but now you look at like you got these awesome graphics, you got the presented by logo, you guys got this is amazing. But everything you came from to now, like everything that happened in the past just built up to what it is and what it's gonna be. So it's like you gotta look back sometimes and pat yourself on the back and be like, you know what? Maybe I cringe when I look at what I did however long ago it was, but it got me to this point. So that's how I feel. There's never anything bad. Like everybody has to be willing to look back at their work and cringe and just see how much better things get as you go. The more you keep doing
Yeah.
something, the better you're going to get at it.
Yeah, and even sometimes I do that. I'll go back and watch episode 5. Episodes 1 is too much for me to take. But I'll watch episode 5 and look how far we came. And one day I pulled up episode 20 for Joe Rogan, and it was in a basement. The lighting was horrible. It was blurry video, and this guy is 3,000 videos in now,
right?
What's he at now? But obviously he's making billions off of a Spotify deal and whatnot. And episode 20 was just as cringeworthy as our episode 1 is. So it's just keep moving forward and get 1% better every day, and you just go that way. So I do have a question on, actually, let's hear your, pretty much a little bit more about Lark Media and what Lark Media does.
Yeah, so basically I tell people in a nutshell, we're a digital content creation company, which basically just means we create commercials for the internet. So where we'll create stuff for social media, video, promos. We do photography as well, any types of graphics that you need. And then we also, COVID, that slowed down once COVID came around, and because you couldn't go out and shoot, and we've taken on podcasts. So we have 2 really large podcasts that we do. We edit, we get them out, we do promos for them, we cut up the promos, we do everything that's needed to actually push that podcast out, along with the publishing, the description, everything like that. And then other than that, we're creating social media ads for companies. We're working with the fitness company right now where they have all the content already. They send it to us, and we create the ads and send it to them, and they run them, and they try to get people to sign up for their app. And that's basically what we do. We create commercials for the internet. That's the nutshell of it all. So we have fun doing it too. And now we're starting to get back out there actually shooting. We did a shoot, Rick. We did a shoot with your boy Glaber in February.
Nice.
We went to Lark. We did a piece for this company called Mountain Ice. They're recovery gel brand, and it was a lot of fun. And we created a lot of pieces of content for them to run on social. I think they're running something on TV now too. But yeah, so we do a lot of different things. But really, our focus is a lot of it is in sports, fitness. We've done a little bit of food. We're trying to just expand out a little bit more. But our bread and butter is sports and fitness. So that's.
I'm curious, who have you had on your show? Who are some of the guests that you've been able to get on your show, on your podcast? Because 2 of them, my God, we do 1, and I'm geez, this is a lot. But 2, man, that's incredible.
Well, on my podcast, on the ones that we do within my company.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some. I'm not allowed to contractually say.
Fair enough.
The names of some of them, but there's been some guests on those that have been. I'm just this is surreal that this is happening, that we're recording.
Yeah.
We're recording this going on right now, and we're going to edit it. And it's you almost feel like these people because you're editing an hour and a half long show with them on it and then breaking it back down. So I can't contractually say, though. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Fair enough.
No, all good.
and looking back now, this has happened so fast for you, right? Have you had a moment to just be Jesus Christ, man? Look where I'm at. Look what I'm doing. Look who I'm working with. Have you had a chance to soak it all in?
Not yet. I honestly not yet. I've stopped occasionally because when I start, I have a business partner. When we started this, I started this thing. I brought him on, and ever since I brought him on, it's just been go, go, go. And at some point, I think I'll be able to take a seat and be wow, look at what we're building and what's going on. But I haven't stopped, and I can't. I have not stopped. It's just we're just 100 miles an hour, and I know you can't always be like that, but I feel like right now it's the time to do it.
Of course, man. It's the way to go, bro.
Keep it going.
So, I think
that's a good question though, because I really haven't thought about it.
Yeah, Rick's dropped that one a couple times. That always ends up being a really good question. You're either somebody that looks back to see how far you've come, or you just have blinders on, and you just want you keep going for that finish line and get to that promised land that you pretty much started on. And so I guess it's really just a matter of where you fall. And I know you mentioned that sports has taught you a lot about really just the persistence and just never giving up. So I guess talk to us a little bit about that and how that's really propelled you forward.
So when I was younger, right, I wasn't like, especially when I grew late. So I was always like one of the smaller kids playing sports when I was growing up. And like my dad always taught me a lot about like, you got to be mentally tough. Like you have to be mentally tougher than other kids. Cause like, guess what? Like at that level, when you're young, when you're like a smaller kid, like they're more talented than you because the field, they're bigger than the field. Like when you're young, when you're 11, 12 years old, there's kids that have already hit their growth spurt and they're like men playing against boys. And the thing is like, he always taught me like, you have to be mentally tough. You need to be able to shake off things people say to you. You need to be shake off people telling you no, people this, that, the other thing. So I always kept that in mind. And like when I was playing baseball, I remember telling myself when I was a freshman in high school, I was like, I'm going to play Division I baseball. I just always told myself that. And a ton of people told me I was crazy. And a ton of people told me I was crazy. And then guess what? I ended up playing Division I baseball. And the same thing kind of happened with my job with like doing this on my own. Everybody's always told me, you're crazy. No, like you got a great job. Like when I was at Bleacher Report, like, oh, you have a great job at a great company. They have great benefits, great 401k. I was like, I don't really give a shit about any of that because it comes out of my paycheck anyway. Like you just don't see it. It's coming out of my paycheck anyway. So whether I'm paying for it myself or they're paying for it, it's still not going in my bank account. It's going somewhere else. Right. So when I was a freshman in college, I went home to go visit my old high school, and this is the last time I went, and I never went back. One of my old high school coaches, he was like, yeah, you're probably just going to end up coming back to Staten Island and working a city job like the rest of us anyway. And I was like, this guy really thinks that. I was like, all right, we'll see. I'll show this guy. I still haven't gone back, but that always stuck in my head where I was like, I'm not coming back here listen, I love all my coaches when I was in high school. I have nothing bad to say about them, but I'm not going to come back here working for the city of New York doing that. I'm not doing it. Just like that guy saying that to me. I was like, I didn't go to the school I went to and put myself in the debt I put myself into to come back here and do the same shit that I was doing when I was like 16, 17 years old. I'm not doing it. So that always kind of stuck with me. And that's like kind of what sports did. Like since I was young, I had the mentality of like, nobody's going to tell me no. I'm going to go to the point. Like, obviously, baseball, I always wanted to play. You have dreams of playing Major League Baseball or whatever. But when I got to that point, you got to be realistic at some point too, right? I was like, you know what? I can't hit the ball 420 feet. So, we'll find something else. I'll go pro. I'll still be in sports, though. Yeah. So, that mentality from sports always kind of, took. You gotta be gritty. Like I always woke up at like 5 a.m. to go work out, to play, like just to go train, to like play the sport I was playing. And like now I wake up at 5:30 still to get up to just start my day. Like no matter what, I'm up at 5:30 because I need to be ahead of whoever's chasing me. Somebody's always chasing me. When you have your own business, like you guys know this, when you have your own business, like you're chasing that paycheck. There's no sitting around waiting for that every 2 weeks. Like if you don't go get it, you're not going to go get it. So you're not going to get it if you don't go get it. So that's what sports really taught me is, work for it, be mentally tough. And you always don't listen. People when people tell you no, it's more of a projection on them and like how they feel. It's not a projection on you. But at the end of the day, I will go back at some point and tell that coach that he could shove it up his ass. I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting until I make my first $1 million to do that. So
there you go.
We'll see.
Hey, there you go. That's a nice little goal to strive towards for sure.
Steve, so let me just chime in here real quick, Mike. I see the Mets stuff you got going on, the Giants stuff you got going on, the Rangers. What's going on? We're doing some stuff for my Jets and for my Knicks, man. Talk to me. What's going on here?
Well, I 100% would. I will do stuff for any team. I'll do stuff for any New York team. Like,
Yeah.
guys, look, I don't hate on the Jets or the Knicks. I really don't.
Yeah.
Look, the Knicks, I need them to be good because New York is just way more fun when they're good.
Yes.
And
Yep.
when it comes to the Jets, here's the thing. The only thing with the Jets for me is that I do not have any friends that are Giants fans. All of my friends, every friend of mine, I have family members that are all Jets fans. You know the shit that I used to take when I was a kid? I used to get trashed everywhere I went. I have nobody's a Giants fan. I couldn't even go, I can't even go get together on a Sunday and go watch football games with people because I'm the only Giants fan. It's it's ridiculous. Like my fiance, thank God she's a Giants fan. She's the only person that I know that's a Giant. Her, and my dad. That's it. It's insane. However, I have worked. So back in the day, I worked with when Chris Ivory was on the Jets.
Okay.
We did something with It was like a Geico thing. We used to do this thing with Geico, a series of what NFL players do on their off days, and we did acupuncture with Chris Ivory. It was like a 30-second spot that they put online, but he's like such a nice guy, and it's crazy because it's after practice on a Tuesday. They just had like film and stuff, and he's like, yeah, we're going. The acupuncturist does acupuncture for like 3 or 4 guys on the team. Show up at the door, and I think he's a running back that got cut. I forget his name. I forget his name. Was there Staley on the Jet that got cut for the Jets? He was a running back. I don't know.
Sure.
Guy answered the door at like 8:30 at night, like eating a bowl of cereal, and he's like, "What are you doing here with this camera crew?" It's like, what? Do you not tell these guys like what's going on? He's like, "No, I didn't tell anybody." I'm like, that's not really how this is supposed to work.
Yeah.
But it's fine. And I've never worked with anybody on the Knicks though. I need the Knicks to be good though, man. New York City's just way more fun.
Yep.
When the Knicks are good. And no matter what anybody says, when the Knicks are good, New York, it's a basketball town. I love the Mets. I love the Met-Yankee rivalry, the Subway Series. I love Jets-Giants rivalry. But there's nothing like New York when the Knicks are good. The Nets can't hold a candle. The Nets don't have fans. The Nets fans are in Jersey. That's really, if we're going to be realistic, the Nets fans are in New Jersey. There's no such thing as a Nets fan in New York. Yeah. But New York is better when the Knicks are good. And that's it.
That's all I need to hear. Amen.
That is 100% true. I mean, the whole city is rocking at that point because really, I mean, they're the only team that's in the city.
Right. Remember when I forget which year it was. The year that they won 53 games with Melo, they lost to the Pacers.
2013, yes.
2013,
they should have got to the conference finals that year, yeah.
I was bartending that year it's not there anymore. It was on 52nd and 2nd. It used to be called Traffic. That place was popping every single Knicks game. People didn't really, people came out, but when the Knicks played, wall to wall, packed. Everybody just gets behind the Knicks because it's right in the middle of the city. It's it's almost like a perfect storm. It's amazing.
It really is amazing because from any place on New York or New Jersey or Connecticut that you want to go, you're going to end up at that arena.
Yep.
Everyone could make it there. There's no switching of, transportation. You're right there.
No, everything runs to the Garden.
Through Madison Square Garden. I mean, and that is why
they need a superstar. That's what they need.
Yes.
And look, I like
Of course. I mean, but they tried their hand in trying to make some stuff work and bringing some people in, but I think they'll turn a corner at one.
I think now, the whole new regime, Thibodeau. Yeah. Look, Julius Randle, comeback player that or whatever he was. I think it was the comeback
most improved player.
Most improved player. There you go. I'm not taking anything away from him. Really good. He's a great Robin. They need a Batman.
Thank you very much.
It's a great Robin. They need Batman. They get a Batman. That team's. I'm telling you, man. I love Thibodeau as a coach. That guy. I love that guy. I love his mentality. I love his intensity. Get him a Batman. That's all I'm saying. It's Gotham City too. So come on. We're right in tune here. Let's go.
So
speaking of
Good. No, go ahead. Good.
No. Speaking of Gotham City, I'm seeing people like flying around like the Green Goblin yesterday. What was that about?
I don't know. I don't know. I saw it trending on Twitter, and I just like.
I know. that's the obviously that's Marvel, but still, I was like, what in the world's going on here?
I don't know what's going on. Things that trend on Twitter, sometimes you're either going to click on it or you're going to see it and you're like, that looks like it's stupid. I'm going to stay away from it.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
It looked like it was a guy riding a drone. That's what it looked like.
Probably it was.
I'm going to have to look it up after this. And I just don't want to get mad at you for if I wasted time when I'm looking this up.
No, it's literally a 2-second clip of him flying, through a Manhattan street,
you guys probably running from Maine.
8 feet off the ground or so, and it looks like he's riding a drone. And it's just under Green Goblin. That's what's trending on Twitter.
Election day tomorrow.
Yeah,
tomorrow's election day. Maybe he's running.
Yeah. So, Steve, where can our viewers find your podcast? Where can they find your content? I mean, let us know where we can all.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I host the Daily Dingers podcast. It's on. You can go to thegameday.com and go to the MLB section, or you could just simply go to Apple or Spotify. It's really can't miss the logo. It's like very baseball-y, like it's just like the old school, those old school numerals DD on there. It's from the Game Day. That's the company who like hosts it, we do daily Nerfies, which are no run first inning bets on there. So they write the article and they link to the podcast, but it's also on Spotify. It's on Apple, really anywhere you get your podcast, you can get that. And then for my company, larkmedianyc.com is our website, and then at larkmedianyc on Instagram, and at Steve Armato on Steve_Armato on Twitter, at Steve Armato on Instagram. And then if you're into TikTok, I have a account at Stevie Locks, because I'm trying to get that sports gambling persona up there. Although my Locks are getting shelled tonight, I'm not gonna lie. Or the Orioles.
Did you take Tampa Bay to smack the Islanders 6-0 by any chance?
I stay away from hockey. I stay away from hockey. See, I don't bet hockey and I don't bet basketball, because the NBA stands for never bet again. So I just stay far away from basketball. I will do baseball and I'll dabble in football. College football's fun, but those are my things right there.
Sounds good.
But see, I won't bet on baseball again. I mean, not that I can't. I don't know.
Here's the
I'm
thing
too
with
much
baseball.
of a baseball purist, and I can't.
Here's
put my
the
money
thing
in
with
it.
baseball. I know you're a baseball purist, which you're very like me in that sense, because I dislike a lot of the analytical stuff that people are doing. We could have a whole nother show just based on that.
We could have the longest show as far as the analytics.
We could have a show.
We'll talk about that.
We could have a 3-day show on that. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
However, when it comes to gambling on baseball, there are a lot of numbers now available to you that help you make a very good educated guess. You can't go crazy though. You can't go over 2 games, because then you get into trouble. You can pick 2 spots where if you pick the numbers and you know how to read the betting lines a little bit, you can make some. Listen, the best people in the world like 65%. You just be like 53%. You make money for the whole baseball season.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So,
I'm looking at that, man.
Hey, and that online betting is going to be starting soon.
yeah, I mean, I think New York, July 19th? Is that official? So
I don't know if it's official yet, but I know that everything has to be in by like the end of this month. It's like who's buying in, who's not. As far as the sports books coming into town, they're gonna have to pay an arm or a leg just to get there, but they'll make it all back.
Oh yeah,
100%. They will make it all back. So we're inching closer by the day, and can't wait to see it all come to fruition.
Absolutely.
Everybody, Lark Media NYC, follow him at Steve_Armato on Twitter, Steve Armato on Instagram, and Stevie Locks for his sports betting content on good old TikTok.
Right.
Steve, thank you again. You are always welcome back anytime on the show. Maybe we can have a nice little discussion on analytics amongst many other things. I'm sure we can go for a few episodes.
I would
on that
love
one.
to, guys. Thank you so much for having me. This was
Yeah.
so much fun. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on, man. Anytime. Please
And
please
if you
come
want to
back.
hear him, if you want to hear Steve Moore, Daily Dingers on GameDay.com or anywhere you get your podcasts.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Steve,
Have
thank
a great night. Thanks again. Good night.
Finally, somebody who's on my side with analytics.
There's a lot of people on your side, but it'll.
Everybody we get on here is like, well, analytics. I do analytics. I'm like, fuck.
I can't believe these Islanders.
Well, the Islanders almost killed somebody here. Barzell just hit a guy with a stick in the head and almost knocked him out. Oh, yeah, that's pretty bad. I mean, it's getting chippy out there, man. 6-0.
Braves are up 1-0 on the Mets right now in the second game of this doubleheader.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a rough night. I think special. I don't know if you saw that came out a couple hours ago on ESPN. It was on ESPN, I think it was. What's his name? What's this guy's name? Carl Nassib came out today. Pledged $100,000 to the Trevor Project. He will be the first active NFL player to come out as gay, so good for him. I don't know if you saw that, Mike.
Yes, I did. I did hear that. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
And obviously it's it's good for him for for coming out. I just I don't think it should be a headline, but unfortunately it is at this point. Because it's not the norm. But I think eventually it'll be more normalized and we could people don't have to hide.
No, not at all. And good for him.
But good for him for coming out there and hell of a weight off of his chest. So
I'm sure, yeah. I mean, a lot of people came out, and Julian Edelman, the commissioner, Saquon Barkley, Jason Collins, Sean Merriman, Brian Burke. A lot of the people came out and they really supported him. Good for him, man. The guy.
And they should be. I mean,
he's happy to live his life.
Yeah. No, he can't.
Good for him, man.
No, absolutely. Actually, I saw something on his teammate Derek Carr saying if he gets traded, he'd retire.
Yeah, I don't blame Derek Carr, man. You know what that is? You have to pick up your family. You got to do all this stuff.
Of course, I know.
I can't blame these guys for saying, what, I'm out.
Yeah, I know, but I guess I mean, it's just so volatile. The NFL. Just people can end up somewhere in a heartbeat every single year.
That's like the end. Remember, we had Scott Harrison on. Remember, he was telling us about that. He get traded.
Yeah,
family and all that stuff.
I know. No, I'm sure it's very tough. But there was one quarterback that stayed with the same team. Well, technically he was on two teams, but officially he was only on one team. And that's Eli Manning.
Oh yeah,
Elijah New York Giant, 2-time Super Bowl winner against those New England Patriots. Tom Brady could not beat him in the Super Bowl. Those were some good times, but Eli Manning is back with the Giants as a business executive, heading up business ops, business development, and heading up the fan engagement sector of that front office. So Eli's back, and he's excited for his new role, and obviously welcome back, Eli. He definitely well loved by that organization and those fans. So I think it's a good move, and he's back in the game he loves and in just a different capacity.
Yeah, good for him. And like you said, he's engaged. He's back in the Giant community. The guy lives in Edgewater, so he's close by. And it's good. It'll be good for the fan base to see him out there. He's going to go to the Ring of Honor I think this year. I think I don't know what game it is, but he's going to be inducted to the Ring of Honor with the Giants. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame. I don't care what people say. He's got 2 Super Bowls. He beat the greatest of all time. He's going to the Hall of Fame. And so that's it. But thank you, everybody, tonight. It was a great show.
Yep. We got
Steve for coming on.
Yes, thank you, Steve. Go check out Daily Dingers. Take a look at Lark Media NYC, and take a look at all of his content out there on social media. Thank you, everybody for tuning in. It was a pleasure. We will be back Wednesday night. One more episode. Me and Rick wrap up and reminisce on the last 91 episodes, and get us ready for summer. And then we're gonna take a little bit of a hiatus to just regroup, recharge the batteries, and be back better than ever as we make it towards that 100th episode a lot sooner than you know it. So have a great night, everybody. Islanders are pretty much done, but we've said that before.
No, this game's over.
And
this one's over.
Yeah, this one I think so. But have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you Wednesday night.
Peace.